Hello, I'm Jennifer Martin. I'm the President of the Royal Australasian College of Physicians. And today I'm delighted to be in Waitemata, interviewing one of our very senior physicians here in Auckland, a general physician. And we're just going to have a chat about New Zealand medicine and about the college in New Zealand.
I'm the Network Training Director here in the Auckland region for adult medicine, and we set up our network about 2 and a bit years ago. And so we oversee the training of our basic trainees. We have to date about 190 basic trainees in Auckland alone, so we are a big training network. I think we rival some of the bigger training networks over in Australia.
Yes.
And it's been a really interesting process, and I think what I have learnt as the Network Training Director is kind of how isolated we are here. There's only 2 network directors in New Zealand. There's me and there's one for paediatrics, and we're our own support network, but it was really hard to kind of get that support and that networking with other network directors to work out what is my job and how do I do it? I've been in the training or the basic training space for a really long time, probably at least 10 years, if not more. And so I knew kind of what the job was, but being able to network with people in Australia would have been really helpful, particularly from the outset. But it was really challenging, and I had to rely a lot on my own networking and the people that I knew to be able to do that.
I've heard it a lot over the last few days that the college sometimes seems to forget about New Zealand, that it's seen as a Sydney-based organisation, and actually the New Zealand health system is really quite different, and it's increasingly different, and that physicians training and working in New Zealand are facing quite significant challenges.
It's a difficult one because I think you've got the sort of member fellow disconnect, but you've also got that disconnect for trainees as well. Like, I think my trainees in the hospital think that I'm the college, and whilst I know a lot about the college, there's this whole other aspect of the college in Wellington and in Sydney, and how you connect that together, I think, is also our challenge. And I mean, partly that occurs with the College Trainees Committee, but also understanding that our trainees have a huge voice and they've got a huge part to play in our college.
Yeah.
There are the numbers of them. Yeah, they are our future, and the numbers of them are huge. Yeah. So bringing them in is really important.
One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about was the current situation in New Zealand in the health system. I mean, we've seen all the resignations of the senior executive in the health department. There's been some ministerial turnovers. There seems to be a lot of flux and almost chaos. I think that's how it seems to me as an outsider coming in. But what's your take on this? And do you think this is a risk for the college, or potentially an opportunity for us to have more support?
I think we've been in a significant state of flux over the last 2 years since the health reforms came in. I think we're actually almost 2.5 years. For most physicians and paediatricians and trainees, it's really about doing our day-to-day job and, with our patients and doing the work that we've been trained to do and providing that best care. For trainees, we know training's an apprenticeship model. Yeah. It's that spending time with your supervisors, learning how to do your job on the job.
I do have to ask about the exam, because I think that has been it's a big issue for the college. I think it's ended up being quite divisive. Australia, New Zealand trainees, seniors, by putting the communications out like we did, we certainly acknowledged that particularly our examiners cohort have felt quite undermined by the college. People felt that it was a personal attack. I think people felt disappointed that no one talked to them, that the investigating team, which was an external team that was hired by the college, didn't really talk to the examination people and examiners, and I think people just felt very disappointed with that. And in particular, some of the recommendations, which have actually all been accepted by the board, that some of those are actually probably already underway.
So I am the Deputy Chair of the Clinical Exam Committee here in New Zealand. we've already been doing a lot of work in this space, recognising that there has been these concerns. And, you know, the initial concerns were raised about 4 years ago or whenever it was. And, you know, I firmly believe that, speaking for the adult medicine, that's all I can speak for, is that, you know, we are trainee focused. We want our trainees to succeed. We want them to do well on the day. We want them to perform at their best in what is a really, really stressful day. So, you know, we've been looking at ensuring we have good diversity amongst our examiners. Not only race, but sex, specialty, you know, age of career stage, those sorts of things, to make sure that, you know, any individual trainee will come across a large range of examiners. You know, I think the report has generated a lot of feelings amongst the membership. I'd like to think that we have an opportunity to really have an open conversation about it, bring everybody to the table, because everybody has, you know, has their part to play in that, and saying, what can we do to make this better, you know?
We are doing an incredible amount of work, and I did just want to thank you so very much for that, and our adult and paediatric examiners, and Tate and Tanya Williams, because yeah, you've been doing a sterling job, and just wanted to thank you for that. Coming back to New Zealand though, and thinking about more of the New Zealand voice, when we look for board nominations, so we have a New Zealand president that has a role on the board. They have a seat there as a director, and Dr. Hamish McKay is doing a great job at the moment. But when we have a call for other directors, we don't usually get nominations from New Zealand, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that, because all the other positions are open for any physician from Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah, and I think that also comes down to the number of New Zealand members we have on committees, and I think it's that perhaps when more invitation, you know, that saying actually your voice is really important. And I think when I've been on Australian committees, or am on Australian committees, I'm quite outspoken.
That's great, fabulous, yeah. I wasn't expecting anything less from New Zealand.
But you have to be, you know, you've got to sit there and go, that's not going to work in in New Zealand,
yeah.
Or actually, that's not the experience in New Zealand. We can't just make that decision because that's not the experience here.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't say, oh, yeah, no, you're from New Zealand. So we'll just, you know,
yeah, poor little country down there in Antarctica, yeah. We actually train fabulous physicians.
We do, and we train a lot of them.
Well, thanks so much again for your time, and yeah, really keen to keep in touch, and certainly I'll be working with you as we go through this implementation post the exam review. So thank you very much.
Thank you.